Herzlich willkommen auf meinem Kanal. Welcome to my channel. You're right here if you want to avoid stupid mistakes in your German text and especially in your German exams. So let's go on. That's the theme. We all want to avoid stupid mistakes in our text. So how are we going to do it? Following system that I'm going to explain to you deals with the brain. The brain doesn't like to take everything into consideration at the same time. So you have to use a system where you can have your brain working on one thing at a time. So how does it work? Well, you check different mistake types. The first type is that you have omitted something. So check, have I done everything, all the exercises? Have I forgotten anything? Check also for missing dots. You know, the German Ü and Ä and Ö. And the question marks. A sentence usually ends with a full stop or an exclamation mark or question mark. Mistake type 2. Have I copied everything correctly? Pay attention to names and numbers. Mistake type number 3 is a very typical one. Students love to do that mistake. So it's all about capitalizing German nouns. So check, have I capitalized all nouns? Everything that can get an additional adjective is a noun. So for instance, if you have the German a woman, eine Frau, you can also say a nice woman or an old woman or a young woman. So if you can do that with a word, it automatically means it has to be a noun. So you have to capitalize that word, eine Frau. Also remember that you have to capitalize the polite sie. So versus sie with a small s, which can mean both or either she or they. So don't confound the two. And then please also check that you have put sch, sch in every place where it should be. German doesn't know sh. It is always sch, sch. Also in Swedish, Finnish und Deutsch. The next type is all about verbs. So check all verbs. Do they have the right endings? Jump from verb to verb and check, do they align with the right pronoun? For instance, check if every time you put ich, you have got e, German a, at the end of regular verbs. Not modal verbs. Check, ich arbeite, but ich will. Every time you put du, the verb ends in st. Every time you put sie, s, the verb ends in t. Not, of course, modal verbs and so on. Just concentrate on the verbs. Of course, it's a basic fact that you need to know the endings of the verbs by heart. Ich koche, du kochst, sie, es kocht, wir kochen, ihr kocht, sie kochen. Mistake type 6. Check all nouns. Does the noun need an article or does it need an indefinite or a definite article? Same rules apply as in English, so translate the sentence into English. If it needs the in English, it is going to be ein, eine. If it is the, it is going to be der, die, das. Of course, there are some exceptions. So in front of professions, no article in German. So I say, ich bin Lehrerin. Also, countries are usually without article. The most important exception, of course, is die Schweiz. There are some other exceptions that you will learn along the way. I have mentioned them here on the slide. Mistake type 7. Check all nouns that refer to persons. Have you put the female form for female persons? Studentin. So if you have a person that is called Mrs. Martikainen, she definitely is Studentin. Yeah, and type number 8. Yes, it is Finland and Finnish and der Finne, die Finnen in German. All of them written with two N's, like the Finns and Finnish in English. If you are from some other place, learn those respective words also. It always makes sense when you're able to say where you come from, right? When you learn a language, it is good to know the correct name of the language, the countries where the language is spoken, plus its inhabitants in your target language. So in German for Beginners or German 1 or whatever you call that course, you should definitely know how to say the biggest German-speaking countries. Deutsch, Deutschland, Deutscher, Deutsche, Österreich, Österreicher, Österreicherin, Schweiz, Schweizer, Schweizerin. And mistake type number 1. Check all the possessive pronouns if they have the right form. Mein, meine, dein, deine, plus feminine word. Well, for them it's always feminine, meine, deine, and plural. Otherwise, it's going to be mine and thine if it is masculine or neuter. And then check type 10. Check all prepositions. Do they need a dative or accusative form with them? If you have no clue what I'm talking about, then you've got to go back and study the prepositions. Use nach with country and city names. So names require nach. You can remember that rule with NN or Nana. And zu with everything else. So for instance, ich fahre nach Deutschland, but ich gehe zum Bahnhof. So, big question, how are you going to remember all of this? Well, you form a sentence that incorporates all these rules. And if you're too lazy for that, here's one ready for that. Meine Lehrerin, there you can put the name of your teacher, wohnt in Finnland und fliegt nach Deutschland. And I have marked all the rules here with the small numbers. In the exam situation, you write down that sentence and highlight the parts that remind you of the rule. Once you have answered all questions, you take this sentence and you stupidly go through all possible mistake categories, concentrating on one category at a time. That's the important thing, one category at a time. Don't let your mind be distracted by anything else. So, when you advance, you can also enlarge your checklist. Use possibilities to write texts and have them corrected by the teacher. Then add more of your favorite mistakes to the list. For instance, by adding a subordinate clause to the same sentence, you can incorporate the grammar of A2. And you can also apply the system to all sorts of learning and all sorts of exams. The system is always the same. You correct your own favorite mistakes. Make a list of them. Then incorporate them into a correct sentence that you learn by heart. Write the sentence down. Check accordingly in the exam situation. Get rid of those stupid mistakes. Celebrate. Comment my YouTube video, like it, subscribe to my channel and share the system with your friends. Dankeschön.